What's going on, guys? I am trying to find my mics. See if we can make this whole situation a little easier, or a little better, that is. Good morning. Everybody got their coffee. We're gonna wait on a couple people to show up. That's code word for I'm not ready yet. It's the pro way to blame it on others. I'm waiting on y'all. Yeah, we're gonna split some wood today. Get a little hour and a half or so in. Split a little trailer load. Sherry Miller in the house. How you doing, Sherry? You're not letting Ted sleep in, are you? What's up, Larry? David, glad to have you, buddy. What's up, Rob? Today, we're gonna be splitting soft maple. More specifically, silver maple. And I got maybe a trailer load of it. When I say trailer load, anybody that kind of knows my setup here, we're talking about roughly a face cord. Might be less than a face cord. It's just going to end up going into the mixed hardwood bin. What's up, Ted? No one is up. Cars, coffee, and cruising today. I love that, Larry. You know, Larry is a fellow... you know what? I went and got those mics and didn't even put them on. Larry is a fellow North Carolinian. And so this man knows when I tell you it rains 3 times a day here. Or it has. I'm going to put this down. Give me 1 second here while I figure out these mics so I can have somewhat of a more sound situation for you guys. All right, everything. I am going to assume that it's working. You guys probably won't know the difference because I've been close to it anyway. But whenever I walk over to the splitter, and I know you guys are loving that close-up of my face there. Boy, let me just get it together here. Next time I need to get out here a little earlier. And I was up early too, so I don't know what happened. Can't blame it on anybody but myself. All right, we're gonna turn this bad boy around. We got some people here, that's what's up. All right, boom. That ought to work if I don't knock it down, throwing wood, because the trailer is right behind me. So Larry is a fellow North Carolinian. He knows what I'm talking about when I say the weather has been absolutely horrendous here lately. I joke about it raining 3 times a day, not just rain out of the sky 3 times a day, but rain back to 95 degrees. All the rain is dried up. You can't, zero evidence that it was ever here. Then rains again, back to 95 degrees. All dries up, zero evidence. Outside of just 200% humidity, you would have never known the rain was here. And then it rains again, and usually for a lot longer, and then it stays wet because down east. What's up, Jonathan? Get on the grind, Britt and Rob. What's up, Ken? Good morning, buddy. Yeah, we got a good gang here. Yeah, so I know that everybody's kind of experiencing the wet summer that we are, but I have heard from the Woodhounds, it's a big community all around the United States and even further than that. I have heard from some of them that they're praying for rain, which is easy because we could definitely give you some of that. Can you guys hear me about the same when I walked away with the mics on? Hopefully that's the case. I'm just going to run it at about half throttle until it starts to warm up. I might just stay at half throttle since I'm out here by myself. Get some rounds over here in the queue. Silver maple can grow really nice and straight and be easy to split, or it can grow absolutely disgusting. A lot of times they will be yard trees, so they'll grow spirally. This one's somewhere in between. I don't think it's going to be too bad. What's up, Jeremiah? What's up, Craig? Hope I didn't miss anybody. Glad to see you guys here this morning. But yeah, this will be a little bit of a working live, so I'll try to check comments and answer questions if there are any, but otherwise, y'all just sit back, enjoy the coffee, and watch somebody else sweat. Give it a couple pumps here, get that fluid moving. Warming a machine up in the summer in North Carolina is almost not even necessary. I like to let the oil go through the motor, you know, a minute or two, but sometimes we get out here and we start with hydraulic oil at 100 degrees. And with this Wolferidge here, some of you guys have them, some of you guys know. But there's a thermometer on the oil tank, so I can see what the temperature of the hydraulic oil is. And my oil cooler cuts on, I think, somewhere around 120 degrees. So, you know, from dead cold in the middle of the summer, it's almost there. This is all just going to be, you know, mixed hardwood, campfire wood type stuff. Silver maple is it's a good firewood. It's not a firewood that you would want to heat your house with in January. Offers somewhere, I don't know, 17 million-ish BTUs per cord. But it's called soft maple, and it's actually a member of the soft maple group. But interestingly enough, from an anecdotal standpoint, this stuff dries out and it's hard as a rock. That doesn't change the BTUs, and it's not super heavy, but it is hard. Like, you'll get a piece of silver maple and you're like, man, that feels like a rock. Which is also interesting. If Ted's still in here, then you guys, I'll pass on a little bit of information. Ted is the Woodhound resident stump expert. For anybody who has not had the pleasure of meeting Ted or Sherry, they are stump grinders and woodhounds. I think Ted's a little jack of all things. He was talking about mowing and commercial mowing, contract mowing for the city or the town, if I recall correctly. Now, Sherry's got the job everybody wants. Retirement. So, I mean, between just being retired and keeping Ted in line, that's probably a full-time job. I don't know. But check them out, Miller Stumps and Firewood. And the reason I bring them up is because Ted and Sherry are the resident experts when it comes to stumps. And Ted said he would rather grind any other stump in America than a maple. And I don't think he discriminates amongst the maples, hard, soft, whatever. You know, I'm not really sure exactly what causes what he's saying to be a situation. But the only thing that I can think of is that whenever a maple gets cut down or whenever it dies, likely all of the sap content of the tree falls to the base of the tree. And so I don't know if the sap just gets down there and turns rock hard, but he said they are the worst trees. He would rather grind an oak or a hickory. I think he even said sycamore, which sycamore, there's a shingle. That's a piece of kindling for someone. Sycamore is like one of the worst trees, especially in the spring. I've never had any experience on a tree service crew, but I know the stories, and the stories are sycamore. You don't want to be the guy running the chipper when you're chipping a big sycamore in the middle of the spring. Those guys are just choking and coughing and hacking. Naturally, I split my wood a little smaller. I say smaller, than your average guy that heats with wood, because I sell a lot of this. But with that said, I will also sometimes split a little larger depending on the species, how fast it burns. Like poplar burns kind of quick, and it dries kind of quick, so I'll split it a little bigger. That way people can put it in, and again, it's still going to burn quicker than a piece of oak that's even smaller than it, but at least they're not changing, putting chunks of wood in. Some of this stuff, if you split real small, like this is a small piece right here. That one right there is a little bigger. Let's see if anybody's pulled up. What's up, Dick? Maple is not easy to grind. That's what's, yep. Look at Jeremiah being number one, dude. Let's go, Jeremiah. What's up, Jack? Glad to have you here, buddy. Trying to scroll back through everything and make sure I didn't miss a good morning from anybody. Rob said he's ready for retirement, buddy. Take me with you. Sherry said it's a full-time job. I guarantee you, Sherry, whenever I will be busier. These people that just retire and sit in a chair, I don't think anybody in the firewood community is like that. So they probably understand what I'm saying. But these people that just retire and die, that won't be us. Not without a fight, anyway. Because I got so much to do. I could retire at 40 and still work harder at my house than I do at work. I think the Wolferidge, we're setting a nice pace here. I don't see any reason for cutting it up unless there's a round that looks like it's going to push through. None of this stuff looks bad at all. I mean, it doesn't look, we're not going to grade it with an A, but it's better than B. I'll give this stuff a B minus. It's definitely bulk wood. Nothing you're going to try to slide in bundles. Well, maybe I will, but some of it anyway. That piece right there, I'd slide in a bundle. Most of this bunker is full and it's well on its way for drying, so I can't really add anything to it. Some of this is just going to get stacked in the back here. Another thing about maple, since it's got such a high sugar content, is you get enough rain without enough sun, this stuff will start to mold pretty quick. There's some little bit of green and blue on these, but these are green, so these things will sit in the sun for 8 months and just turn gray. You won't even see the problems that used to be. What's everybody's plans today? Like I always say, I hope everybody's off work, but I know that's not the case. There's always somebody having to go in, or a lot of people will be at work, you know. Piece right here, like for maple, it's a little big to be running through the four-way, but it's a little small to be running through the four-way, but it's a little big to be splitting directly in half, so I'll make 3 pieces out of it. Which just makes more work for me in regards to pulling levers here. For the right side firewood. What could go wrong? I will oftentimes run the Wolferidge at this speed when I'm by myself because I'm wasting gas otherwise. This thing is by far the fastest part of my process. Although every year my process gets a little better, we are still hand tossing pretty much everything at least once, even if it's to the tractor bucket. There's that silver maple, that gnarly stuff we know and love. I think that a conveyor has skyrocketed to the top of my list. So I think that's going to be. I've been kind of planning on getting a tractor splitter just for the bigger stuff. But so I'll probably do that as well. But my money right now that I'm saving from my sales, the 2 things that they're going to is who saw this pretty stuff? That money will be going to. Boy, the ants are out early. Money will be going to a conveyor, I think. 46 people, let's go. Sherry, that's so cool. Sherry said she's just waiting on Ted to retire so they can see some of the beautiful country. What an awesome thing. Ted, man, you might have to quit early. And shout out to Ted for going to work every day while Sherry hangs back, man. That would be, you know, I guess I do that some now, but anyway, you know, that would be tough. What's up, Kenny? What's up, Mike? We got the hogs logs in the house. Kenny from Firewood Adventure is in the house. That's awesome, guys. I'm gonna grab some more rounds. We're gonna get back at it. Thanks everybody for being here. It's not the prettiest round. Tell you what, I wrestle a lot of oak. The oak is just so nice and easy to split, but you know, dragging it around and getting it down here to the splitter, sometimes I'll switch over to like soft maple or something, poplar or whatever I'm switching at the time. And man, it's like a dream to move around. This stuff, you just stab it with the old hookaroon here and walk it around like it's large water. I need to get this wood yard cleaned up. I've got a mess of boiler wood that my buddy needs to get. Because we've got the season almost upon us. And I need to be able to get in here and make bags and bundles, all that jazz. All right, let's see if we can't knock some stuff loose here. Ted, I meant to say this, I wasn't going to type it all out, but it did my heart good to see that big round that you split. I know that you made the comment about doing it different next time, but let me tell you, man, that was textbook perfect round if you're going to do a big round. Let me tell you why. It was big enough to the point where when you split it pretty much all the way. But if it were a little smaller, it would have divided it into fours that would have fallen apart. That was the perfect size. I think you said it was 38 inches. And the reason I say that was because when you split it, it split four ways, but it had holding wood on every piece. So had that been me, I would have taken the piece that was this way, just boom, one hand straight back to the log lift. That's where it falls every time. This piece right here, you weren't having to, you could have probably let go of it. Not that I would recommend that, because it was still holding from the bottom wedge on your four-way. That's perfect. All that's perfect, because then you can kind of guide it off, let that big piece sit here, work the two under pieces, go to that, piece on your log lift, and then back to the piece that you had left here. So, again, not that I'm advocating that somebody try to hurt themselves or their machines, just to make a video, but once you get the hang of the big wood, there's all these little nuances that, you can just make so much good bundle grade wood out of one round. And I mean, if I thought that was really the way to do it, then I wouldn't even be looking at these tractors for it. But I'm just saying, I don't shy away from it because I've done so much of it. That's kind of my, people down here love the chip, what I consider firewood. If you gave me my choice, I would ask for something between 8 and 12 inches every time. And I'd run it through a 6-way or the 4-way a few times and just call it done. But these tree guys don't give me my choice, so in comes the crane with, a 42-inch oak. And the thing is these oaks that are nice and straight and big like that, they're beautiful. I get a lot of hate about, oh, that could have been a saw log. No, it couldn't. Ain't nobody sawing 46-inch oak. No mill around here will take that. You might get somebody on a home mill that was like hand built. But a buddy of mine has 2 mills that were homemade, and he still can't take anything above like 32 or 36. So I mean, we're talking saw grade material logs. I mean, I've cut something that I think probably would have been a veneer. I don't know anything about the log market, but now if you went to like maybe a commercial logging setup, they could take something that big. I really don't know, but not around here. So I find the sweet spot for wood where it's like not too big, but big enough to kind of hold itself together after a split like Ted's did. I find that to be like 35 to 44 inches diameter. That's a good log. With 35 being on the lower end and 44 being, you know, on the upper end. Comfortable. And I mean, I've split bigger than that, but that's when it's, you know, it's like, what are we doing here? And to be honest with you, every once in a while I'll get some like 48 to 50 inch stuff, and I'll put it up here, but more times than not, it'll only be like 8 pieces, which is an entire wood yard almost, at least my wood yard. But more often than not, I'll just come out here at night and I'll hand split one piece each night until it's gone. And it takes me a week. It's good exercise. And you can hand split a 50-inch piece of red oak in, you know, casually in 15 minutes. I'm sure some of you guys could do it in 3. 9 o'clock at night, that's not me though. Silver maple, baby. Makes a good flame. Starts easy. Very, like I'd say middle of the road. Maybe a little lower than middle of the road. BTUs. Somebody creeping by the driveway here, so I'm just keeping eyes on that. 53 people, party time. Every once in a while, people will, he's just looking at the wood. We got Jack in the house, Log Cabin Firewood Jack, with the Saturday morning inspirational video that I will be sharing later. You guys are popping off. I can't even get back there. Got most of it almost. Let's see the new badges. We got to get Sherry a badge. Carl Lewis in the house. Thanks for being here, buddy. I hope I haven't missed anybody. Jeremiah says he's got to get something done. Have a good weekend, Jeremiah. Had a company reach out to me, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or so. It seemed like a pretty small company. And they were trying to give me a hookaroon, which I haven't been very vocal about it because I'm not big into bashing companies. And I just wanted to figure out the best way to do this video because it's not really a bashing as much as it is just an honest review. How I would not spend my money on it again. And that is the Fiskars hookaroon. I have broke so many of them, and for whatever reason, back through COVID, I guess they were just swamped. And I put in a report, and they sent me one out. So I'm like touting the business. I'm like, yeah, buy one of these, they're lifetime warranty. I said, I'll be honest, you know, they break after a good amount of use, but you know, what's the problem if they break if they replace them? I know multiple people bought them because I mentioned that. Not on my channel, I'm just saying my buddies. And now I regret telling them that because out of nowhere, they sent me like, I don't know, 2 or 3 replacements. I've probably got 3 or 4 of these things laying around. and I'm using them exactly the way I'm supposed to. I actually have a video of me going into a log, and the tip of it, in the video you can see it shoot right over my head. I was like, man, good thing I had glasses on, it could have been in my eye. Anyway, when that last one broke, right through the crotch, dude. Not even half throttle. When that last one broke, you know, I sent out another claim, and randomly they're like, oh, you've already turned in your claim, you can't do it again. And I was like, yeah, I've turned in my claim numerous times, you know, because it's broken. Is this lifetime warranty or not? And basically they were like, we're not going to replace it. And I was like, I understand a company wanting to like cut ties with somebody that they feel like they're just draining, you know, resources. But like, give me my money back. Is this satisfaction guaranteed or not? Because your website says it is, and it also says that this is lifetime warranty. And there's some verbiage in there about 25 years, but come on, it's been 3. If they would have said, listen, man, we're tired of sending you products for free, we'll just give you your money back, I would have been completely fine. I still would have recommended them to people and just been like, you know, I'm probably hard on stuff. That's just what it is. But when they were like, no, you know, we're not giving you your money back, we're not sending you another one, yada, 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 I was like, all right. And so I tried LogRite, and the thing about LogRite is they have a replaceable head. And I think most companies should, because if you use these things long enough for years, they're gonna break. It's just mild steel they're using. And it's just not gonna last. And you know, as long as your company will back that product, that's fine. I mean, this is a heavily used item. You know, we're not baking cakes over here. I'm knocking this thing into pretty big rounds and pulling them around the woodyard. So anyway, I had a company reach out to me and say that they wanted to send me one. And I checked out their website, and their payment structure was cryptocurrency. And I was like, which I mean, I don't have a problem with, you know. I'm from the new age as well. But I'm not about to take something from a company that only accepts crypto, because I know my people, you know, that watch any of this stuff would be like, nah, what is this joke of a website? But the dude was so nice in the email. He was like, we would love to send you out this hookaroon for completely free, but, and he didn't even say like, oh, you have to do X, Y, and Z with it. He just said, if you like it, make a video. And I really appreciated that level of like nonchalantness, because I've never done any type of product, video, anything, nothing. On my channel, no one has ever contacted me and given me a single thing for free. I've had a couple people contact me about stuff that's just absolutely useless, like wireless routers and stuff. They're like, oh, we've been watching your channel and we think you'd be perfect for this product. And I'm like, clearly you ain't been watching my channel. I'm about as far from electricity as it gets, other than like a homesteader going off grid here. But this was the first one that I felt like, dang, I could use a pick and I would love to see if this works. And, you know, I sent the message to the guy and I was like, I appreciate you finding me. I appreciate all the things that you said, but I said, you know, the people that watch my channel are not about to just go to your website and buy a hookaroon with Bitcoin. That just ain't gonna fly. So I said, thanks, but no thanks. He emails me back and he was like, no, he said, we do normal points of sale, they're just down right now. He was like, would you want to take one whenever our point of sale comes back up? He said it should be back up in like a week or so. They were switching over some sort of system or something, I don't know. And they've got a TikTok that I checked out and it seems kind of weird, but I don't know. I'd really like a pick of work. It's cool if theirs did, but I also just don't want to show. I never emailed him back after that, but we'll see. I don't want to show something and then people, you know, not that I'm heavily influencing anybody on the internet, but I just don't want anybody to be like, oh, this worked out good for him, and then get it and then it sucked because I just reviewed it too early, or I didn't give it walking through its paces. You know, these hookaroos, these pickaroos, they're not going to break. They're going to break after 6 months or a year or 2 years. And that kind of stuff matters because you're not trying to spend $75 every year on something that should be lifetime warranty. You know, I'm no product expert, but I can't imagine it takes more than $8 or $12 to make one of these Fiskars hookaroo. It's literally a piece of mild steel in a poly frame mold. They make that real quick and easy. But anyway, see me using them because what I do is I take, since I've already spent the money on it, I take and put an edge on it myself, and then I'll use it. I've got a little piece of red maple right here, I think. Still a soft maple. Yeah, so you'll see me using it, but you won't see me touting it. And to be honest with you, I like the Fiskars unit better than the Logrite. And I've already bent, I shouldn't say already, I've had it for a while. I've already bent the Logrite tip, but at least they make it replaceable. So if something comes with a replaceable tip, I don't even bug them about it. I'm like, okay, that's something that's gonna go bad. And I've got it over there. I can show you guys it. I don't know if the bend in the metal will come across the camera. Every single piece I put up here, throw off. Put up here, throw off. Let's see if we can slice this little knot off here. Take a look. William Klein, thanks for being here, buddy. They also say you won the African lottery. Ken, you clearly understand how these people work, dude. It was as nice and sketchy as it could have been. That's there. Bob said, get plenty of vitamin D with those pills for COVID. Dude's got COVID. Oh God. He said COVID's kicking his butt energy-wise, but he needs to get moving. Thanks for stopping in. Good. Dale Seeger. I don't know that I've seen that name before, so welcome, Dale. Thank you for being here, buddy. We got Chris from the Weekend Warrior. Good morning, Chris. I was just watching your video with my son this morning, and you know, obviously I made the comment, so this is just beating a dead horse. But when you were packing that needle bearing, we literally made the exact same sound. It was kind of funny because as you dropped it, I was like, ooh, and you said the same thing, and my son looked up at me and laughed. Chris was doing some revamping of the saw. For anybody that has not seen his channel, Weekend Warrior 802, check him out. Once again, Saturday morning jiu-jitsu, so I've got about an hour and a half, something like that. And we're going to take Wild Man to do his thing. I'm sure most, if not all of you guys, follow Jack over at Log Cabin Firewood. But if you do not, somehow randomly you found me before you found him, go check him out. He put out a great video this morning about the Hope Haven, the cancer project that we do in the fall up in Pennsylvania. I mean, it's one of the highlights of the year for me as far as feel-good activities. You will not leave that place feeling anything other than happy, able to help, having kicked out with it down. It's a little, I would say it's pretty well straight range, but it's a little gnarly, a little conical. Grab some more. Let's see where I put my pick at. Stuff loves to make some slash too. Nice little round right here. I don't know, maybe we might actually, I might have to cut up the little gas here on this guy. It's got a little knot on it. On the back side, it's every bit of 20 inches. On the front side, more like probably 16, 17. Oh yeah, I've got this little pretty ugly crotchy piece as well, so we might have to turn it up. I will try to. A lot of people post videos of their splitting crotches, and I'm probably guilty of what I'm even talking about. If not, I will. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But what a lot of people don't know is that a true crotch in a piece of wood splits easier than another piece of wood. If you're going single knife anyway, I should say single knife obviously, because the weakest point of that piece of wood, and I'll show you on this one, is the union. So you run that single knife straight through the center of the crotch, and I mean it usually pops on low speed. Sideways in there. Bark's just falling right off this stuff. That's pretty common. Yeah, this stuff's, you know, it'll even look nice and straight, and then you get inside of it and you're like, yuck. This entire table full of slash bark. That piece right there, normally I would split it again. Let's see if I regret this. It might just turn into origami. Nope. Nice piece of firewood. Load the front of the trailer as I toss. I should split this through the single wedge, but why not just do this and regret it? Okay, maybe not. It's a pretty ugly piece, so that should turn out nice. Glad I did that. Cross back. one of those that's a little too small for the 4-way, but definitely too big to go in half for the people that I sell to. It's always fun without a conveyor because at the end of the session, I get to walk over there and pick up 20 pieces that miss the trailer. Maple is one of those woods that, like I said, it's either really easy to split or it'll humble you pretty quickly. It's definitely one of the woods I'm glad that I have a hydraulic splitter for. I'm gonna keep splitting, Dale. Don't you worry, brother. I'm pretty sure you can cut it in half. Sherry, I don't think this thing's even in half throttle. I'm actually gonna walk over there. It is. It's splitting very nice. Walk over here and see my junk table. It's a black oak round on top of I put a couple timber locks in a, let's see if I can even show you. I put a couple timber lock, like 8 or 10 inch screws into a pine stump. And I use that as my glove table. Alright. Close to half. I would have given that probably 30% throttle. So I completely agree, especially some of this nasty maple. I mean, look at some of this stuff. It's like, I don't know what it looks like coming out of on the video, but like there's some pretty gross stuff in here for sure. You know, very, I won't call it quite curly, but it's got a nice wave to it, and there's plenty of those internal knots. So I agree. Here's what we got so far. Nice little trailer load. I mean, we got plenty of space in the back here. We got more space up there. We'll keep after it, but I'm getting low on the maple. But I've got plenty of white oak bucked up, plenty of red oak out here. Chipping away at this pile so I can get some more here, and then I keep stacking over there behind my other pile. Pop you guys back up. I don't need Dale getting antsy that I'm not splitting. I'm headed back there, brother. Love to see it. Now keep in mind these next, I don't know, these next few, maybe not this one right here. I might have to crank up. This one is kind of ugly. We'll see. Might have to crank it up. To be honest with you, nothing has ever... I've never had to take something off this splitter. Like, oh, it can't do it. But the only thing that's ever really stopped this splitter, and this is crazy to me, where I really had to, like, you know, take off the 4-way, and not only take off the 4-way, but even with the single way, like read the grain with silver maple. Like every once in a while I'll get some ugly oak or big oak that has some knots, and I'll just immediately take off the, this one doesn't want to give up. I will immediately take off the 4-way and go through it with the single way, but it's usually pretty effortless if I'm being honest. Silver maple, I had to take off the 4-way and read the grain. Like the first time I sent the single through, it still kind of was like, I don't know about this. I'm telling you, this stuff can get gross. And that's coming from somebody that splits nothing but really hardwoods, you know, tough ones. I split a lot of elm, I split a lot of hickory, sycamore. All those are notably considered hardwoods, whether they're high BTU output or not. Gum, I split a lot of gum. Those are notoriously difficult. And here's the one I said I might have to throttle up for. I mean, it's fine. It's hanging out in the second stage, but yeah, it's good. I'll save my gas. Every once in a while, I got to do a little bit of this. Look at that piece of ginkgo right there. Ginkgo biloba, guys. Love to see it. Push these off because this stuff is nice and green. Just go sideways here, barely pick out. It should be loose enough. A lot of this stuff. Look, see? This stuff's like split paper. I know I'm going to regret running this one 4-way. But I think it'll come out pretty no matter what I do. Right through the knot. Come on, baby. Let's go. And that's just like an ugly wood. That one will go in, that one will get burned by the boiler. And then of course the grain after the knot was nice and ugly too. Look at the grain on this side. Just wavy all the way up. Based on feel, I'm certain I'll regret that. Every once in a while, I will split a piece down because I can tell like it's just too heavy for my custom preference. Not too heavy for them to lift, but you know, it's not really a piece of wood. And then I end up regretting it because the entire mess goes into the boiler instead of. Right now, that's a decent piece of firewood right there. Nice size. I'd burn the heck out of that. I'm about to roll the dice here and see if I can turn it into 2 pieces or 100% boiler. That's a nice hard piece of wood. This one looks absolutely straight as an arrow on the outside. I can assure you that it is not. Supposed to be a nice day, both weather-wise, off work. Got people coming over. I'm cooking pizzas in the brick oven tonight. It's one of those days you look forward to. I got a delivery to take. Got a jiu-jitsu tournament to watch. My son and I are going to go on a delivery while my daughter takes a nap. Give my wife a little reprieve, just like she's giving me right here. So I'll have him out of the house for a couple hours while she hangs out. She'd probably do the same thing I would, not hang out. She'd get stuff done. She's the type of person she is. But if she's listening to this, ooh, that one actually punched into the diamond plate back here and got stuck, and it pulled it right back out of the wedge. That's pretty cool. If she's listening to this, Leah, I would tell you to don't worry about anything that you were going to worry about, and enjoy your probably book. I know that sounds boring to some people, especially me. My girl likes to read a book. That's like the last thing on earth I would do for fun. Maybe that's why we work. Alright, let's see if I can show you guys this little crotch setup I got here. Now, when I tell people, you know, if I'm showing somebody something, I normally say to split with the knots to the back of your ram plate, not where your knife is. Knots to the back. So if I got something with a bunch of knots, a lot of times I'll roll it up on a log bed with the knots to the back. With crotches, I split crotches to the front because that is the union of the tree. It's the weakest point of the tree. That's where the tree fails. 74 you guys hanging out. Thank you guys for being here. Don't forget to smash that like. Click out of the chat and smash that like. It really helps the channel. Let's go. Rob talking about going to pick up his Wolferidge next Friday. Let's go. Doug Sanders, another name that I have not seen before. Thank you for being here, Doug. If you're still here, I appreciate you stopping in, buddy. We're just out here drinking coffee, splitting wood. Dale. Look at Dale popping up in the number 2 spot. William Klein says he's got a split fire for his excavator. It's a nice unit. I completely agree, William. Split fire makes an excellent product, and more importantly, they price it excellent. I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about my buddy. This one really does not need for me to take the wings off, although, oh man, my pin is so bent. I usually keep a pair of needle nose to pop it out. My problem with this one is when it hits the, yeah, it's gonna push up. Problem is, I'm not going to look at that yet. For the safety of the machine, I need to take this off. What's going to happen? It's going to push. Pin is bent in there, boy. Now I really hate taking it out because these things come out fairly regularly. I'd rather not. So when they bend in there like that, it's kind of nice. Dang. You know what? I'm just going to have to forego the little lesson on splitting, and I'm just going to have to split this the other way that I would normally do it if I was not trying to show you guys something. I can't believe it just split that. I thought for sure I was going to get stuck and then have to idle this thing up. I know it would have split it if I idled it up. I'm very surprised that it went through that. I hope y'all saw that. So right here, which now we can see very effortlessly, is the crotch. This is the weakest part of the tree. That is where you split. It'll split. I mean, it'll pop right open on 15% throttle if you're splitting at that union. But I know a lot of people like to show off their machines, so they'll show you, you know, splitting down the center of a crotch. And I get it, man. I'm one of those guys too. So keep doing your thing. And it is impressive to the untrained eye. Looks cool anyway. not have my headphones that play music on today, and I wish I did, because these blue ones, this looks ugly. I don't know how much firewood I'm going to even get out of this piece. Ugly. Ugly stuff makes the best wood. What I meant to say was the ugly stuff makes the best heat. For anybody that heats with wood, especially a boiler, these naughty, crotchy pieces. These are the boilers all-nighters. You know, people with wood stoves have nice big chunks. They call all-nighters. That's what the boiler people call these. I mean, look at that ugliness. Look. Boiler pile, it's right here. Not the prettiest piece of firewood, but it's a whole piece. And it'll stack, alright. That's another way I decide whether or not it's gonna go into my bulk pile. My bulk pile doesn't have to be bundle grade looking. I just sell truckloads, dump truckloads of it. And my one metric for bulk wood is that it needs to look like it can stack easily. I'm not trying to bring somebody, you know, a face cord of wood. You can't even get it 4 feet high without it toppling over. And I don't sell silver maple by itself, single species ever, unless somebody asks for it, and no one's going to do that. So this will all get mixed in with some oak and maybe some hard maple, what have you. I don't love how that pushes up on my right here so much. That's kind of why I wanted to take that thing off, but once again, whoever the idiot was with the saw loves to cut crooked, you know what I'm saying? I know y'all know what I'm saying. I don't even think I can blame that one on the bar or the chain. I probably should dress my bar though. It has been a while since I've ran a file down the bar. It's cutting straight when I want it to, when I try. I get out here with, 45 minutes and, before the kids get home or something. I just start ripping with the saw. So this is more likely human error. I'll burn that at my house. Sometimes I throw stuff in there knowing I won't sell it, but when I go to load the truck, because again, I hand do everything. When I go to load the truck, I'll throw that one aside and it'll be dry, and I'll put it in my heat pile. What's up, Tom? Tom's in the house. Dalet, Adara, or Dole, thank you for being here. Another name I haven't seen before. Ryan, thank you for dropping in, and I appreciate the comment about the flag, buddy. Great minds think alike. Sometimes reasonable men have to do unreasonable things. I'll tell you what, guys. We have about got a trailer load, but it is a tossed trailer. And so it's definitely not a face cord, but it's pretty close. And, oh yeah, there's some more maple right there. I got a couple pieces of a fruit tree here. This is just a little crab apple. I'll toss those in there. size. I don't know how big that is, but good sized piece of red oak. Maybe I'll split that if I've got time. Boy, this really cleared out some space over here where my bagging station is. I would really love to have a 6-way wedge for this machine. I still think that the 4-way would be like my predominant wedge. I'm just interested in the 6-way. But my problem is, and not that I don't think it's worth it, my problem is I just don't want to spend money on it. I mean, $500 is a lot of money. But I mean, you know, they got to charge what they charge to be able to employ people and make a living. I mean, that's the basis of America. I get it, and I appreciate it, and I support Wolferidge. They've always done right by me. In my short time knowing them. I've had this splitter for going on a couple of years now, but when I bought it, it got dropped off. I'm thinking I wish it got dropped off. I went and picked it up at Faith Farm Equipment here in Salisbury, North Carolina, and got it home and cranked it up and started running it, and immediately fell in love with it. I was like, man, this machine is awesome. But after my very first splitting session, I saw some fluid underneath the pump, and I was like, uh-oh. It had a faulty pump on it, and I messaged Chris, and I was like, hey, is this normal? And he said, absolutely not. He said, however, you know, everything seats, like the seals and everything. He said, so run it for 25 hours, and it was a very small leak. I mean, I would run it for 2 hours, and maybe there was like a tablespoon, I don't mean, you know, I'm not a baker, on the ground. And so it wasn't like anything crazy, but I did exactly what he said, ran it for 25 hours. I sent him a picture of the puddle after the 25th hour. And like I said, I never even added any hydraulic fluid. I bet the entire time it may have leaked 4 ounces or a half a cup, maybe. And I sent him a thing, and he was like, we'll get that in the mail immediately. In addition to that, he offered to pay a local hydraulic shop to put it on. And I didn't want to do that because then that would have required me to load the machine up and drive it somewhere, yada, yada, yada. And I really wasn't trying to do that. So I emailed him back, and I was thinking, hey, do I really have to take it to a hydraulic shop? Like, is that something you require? That way you know it's done by somebody that's professional, you know? That way, I didn't know if he was going to, like, not warranty it if I did it myself, basically. And he was like, no, I don't care if you do it yourself at all. I just wanted to offer it because, you know, you shouldn't have to do this. Or you shouldn't have to be doing this. And I thought that was really cool. I was like, I don't have a problem putting a pump on. That's a 15, 20-minute job. Not hard to do at all. And he sent that thing, I bet it was at my house 2 or 3 days later. And he sent me a pre-packaged, pre-paid for label to send the other pump back because he wanted to send it to his supplier, tell them, you know, so they can see, hey, what's going on? Why is the pump leaking? Because we're not having issues, but we don't want to start having issues. Basically, he just wanted to get the pump back so he could send it back to the people. So, I mean, he paid for all that. Outside of, you know, 20 or 30 minutes of my time swapping the pump out, that's all I had into it. It's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, man, with this company. It's been great. And I know people with other commercial log splitters would say the same about their company because there's good companies out there. Let's see what else we got over here before we start messing with this chunk of oak here. This is all white oak, so that's going to go into a very particular place. I do need to split this chunk of hickory right here. There we go. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Let's see what time it is. Might pop this oak up there. Alright, you guys want to watch me wrestle this thing? I don't have a tape measure here. Tall ways, I would say, it's a little bit right here at my waist. Maybe tall ways 30, but wide ways 24. Maybe y'all can guess whenever it gets up there, if it ever gets up there. The problem with this one is it's ugly. And this thing's got, I mean, it is oak, so there's that going for it, but it's got a lot of crotches. So we'll see if we can get it split with the four-way. If not, I might have to split it later. I'll take the four-way off and see it rolling. Maybe. I don't know what you guys can see. Let me see what y'all can see. I might shift the camera. Yeah, you can kind of start to see it there in the frame. You're right, Jack. Dealer sport is everything. Like I said, I don't have any long-standing history with Wolferidge. They've never even met me. But can't say enough good things about them. I appreciate the fact that they exist. I appreciate all the hard work that the workers put in on these machines. I appreciate the product that Chris has built. I appreciate the service and the media presence that Bob has built. I mean, it's just a top-notch team. All right, let's do it without a hernia. That did not go up there the way that I want it. I might be able to move it around. I really need this knot to be at the top. Let's see. I might just turn it. Kind of waiting on this one with all the knots. And I don't like to get out here and bust my back out, so I try to do this all hard and not smart and pushing with my legs. Nope. I'm just taking a turn in it around. Alter the trajectory. Nope. Let me just get it up here and pick it. Split a lot of big wood, but I'm not really into wrestling it. Get up the log lid and put it back down. I also cut this one. I was going to use this one for heat for myself, so I cut it on the thicker side. It's probably 18 inches. Oh, come on. Forget about it. I'm going to just send it and try to mess with this. fall. Sometimes it's easier to rotate because it's up here on the beam. Alright, we're getting there. Sherry. I promise you, Sherry, I actually, believe it or not, I have a bad back, so I really do not wrestle around like this on a regular basis. I've had this one sitting in my yard for 3 months needing to split because it's not, it's gross. We'll see if the four-way does it. I'll take y'all over there. And the two people are here ready to watch. I can see how the grain is. It looks nice down here just looking at it. You guys can see, I mean, this limb right here probably goes pretty far in on the center. It's got this like conical growth to it. So it is what it is. I'll be all back. But yeah, normally I don't wrestle with them. I've got a bad back too, but I'm also just a heavier guy. So a lot of it is just take a deep breath in and swing my weight around to kind of move some stuff. I'm just going to take a little chunk off of this piece. I probably ought to just try to split it in half. Drop the wedge all the way down, but this is kind of what I'm talking about, Ted, where it splits, but here it comes. It's wanting to go. Now I have a couple options here, and I don't always choose the right one. Option one is to lay it down here, which is going to be more difficult for me to get it back there, but easy enough. Option two is to flip it over on its base and see if I can run it through the knife again, sideways, like cross grain, just to split this last and give me two pieces. The problem with that is that's what I would do if I had the single wedge on. But with the four-way on, I don't know that that's the best idea. So I'm just going to pull it apart a little bit and see. The real thing is just let it go where it wants to go. That one's off. Ain't nothing but metal. It ain't hurting anything. It goes down. But what did I keep up? Of course, I kept the crotch. So you guys can see how nasty this is. And I definitely need to be on the flat side down. I think a lot of people get caught up in trying to catch it. That ain't it. You ain't gonna catch these logs. You think you're gonna impose your will on a 300, 400 pound log? You ain't done this on the day. Let it go. It ain't gonna hurt anything. That thing hit the log lift, which is solid steel, and went right on down. I've never had, obviously one concern would be maybe the motor. I've never had anything. I very nonchalantly just push around straight back onto my log lift. As long as your log lift is down a little bit in the cradle position, it's usually not an issue. At this point, we're just chipping away at it, a little bit at a time. Pull this back, push it down. Don't wrestle them, guys. Beat you up. stuff here. Set this aside. Red oak is a lot easier to short stroke. 2 inches into the wood and it's split. No need to send the ram all the way down. But I do it all by feel, and so sometimes my hand misses it. And if that's the case, then I'll send it all the way down. Yeah. Ugly right here. Wish I could see this. I still don't know about the four-way doing it. Now we're good. Put it back. Put it back. Drop it down. I try to bully this stuff around best I can without using a bunch of, you know, my back. That's what I should say. I don't want that to, let's take a little piece off. I don't want that to push up on my hands too hard. Probably got some boiler wood here. We got some ugly right here. And it's just high enough. It's just all boiler wood. Boiler wood right there. Over here. More crotch. My buddy will take anything that he can lift. It doesn't have to be small. Use those things for the hard work. Alright, we got some firewood coming out of here. Finally. That's the good thing about these big rounds. Now all I've got left is that little quarter down there. That'll be easy to move. Easier if I didn't have to. 1, 2, 3. This one's also nasty. But let's see if we can't whittle it down. firewood pieces right there. This is red oak, more specifically for my woodhounds. Learning southern red oak. Northern red oak, or pin oak, or willow oak. Black oak. How many of you guys knew that black oak is a red oak? Counterintuitive to the name, huh? I got a video coming out here soon that's going to show you guys how to identify black oak. A lot of people think they can do it based on the bark. A lot of people think they can do it based on the leaves. The thing about black oak, what they don't tell you, they don't teach you in school, is that the leaves on a black oak can be extremely variable. I'll tell you something that is not extremely variable. That is the cambium layer of black oak. The cambium layer of black oak is this quintessential orange, yellow color. No other oak will exhibit the yellow-orange cambium layer. That is the best way to know you got a piece of black oak, which is what? Red oak. Alright, we're getting a little bit of firewood now, y'all. Appreciate y'all sticking through that one. I'm not saying that black oak, by the way, cannot be identified in another form or fashion than the cambium layer. You guys got to remember, I'm talking to firewood guys. If tree guys ever stumble upon my page and they want to, make their comment, that's fine. Any tree can really be identified by the leaves. But again, nothing is sure shot certain. Not bark. I was going to say, let's see if we can get a single piece of firewood out of that one, and we did. Spoiler alert. Let's see what's going on here in the chat. What's up, Nate? Nate says that's why he noodles the big one. I rarely noodle. That one would have been one that I would noodle. Yeah, Sherry, I understand. I get it. Instead of the one that says it was a 38 inch. I'll tell you what, a 38 inch piece of oak probably. Let's see, I've weighed some 36. The 36, I remember weighing like 650 pounds. And that was like, I'm not going to call it dry red oak, but that was. I bet you that 38 piece of oak weighs right around 650 to 700 pounds. People always say 300 or 400. They have no idea. I put this stuff up on train scale regularly. Very regularly. But to me, you know, when you quarter that up, when you noodle that, then you have 4 pieces of 700 pounds. I don't know who you guys are, but I ain't that tough either. So, I mean, once you noodle this thing and it's still 200 pounds, then you're really, and then you lose the ability to roll it. You have to flip it. Is it doable? Sure. And it's easier for a lot of people. For me, I'm a big guy. If I can just lean into something, I can push it. I'm able to move stuff as long as it stays round. And like I said, Nate, in regards to that one right there, probably would have been one that I could have easily noodled that, just because of all the crosses and stuff. I don't noodle anything if it's straight grain. I mean, this splitter's just too powerful. And Ted said, yeah, that's how his worked out. He just lost it. Yeah, man, nothing wrong with that. When you split and they hang like that, that's perfect, because then it allows you to take this one and drop your lift about like that, push it straight on the lift. Sometimes, I would say 90% of the time, it rocks and smacks right in that cradle. It's good right there. Another 10% of the time, it pops off and rolls off the side. With that tire right there, I've never had an issue. I don't have nothing catastrophic has ever, I've never even been close to hitting my motor, you know, knock on wood. I don't think that I will. Yeah. I just try to bully stuff around. If it falls off, it falls off. The one thing that I don't want to happen is I don't want it to fall off the end or on this side. That's why I said when that 38-inch piece that you did, Ted, hung up right here, you kind of had your hand on it. You probably could have let go. I wouldn't have recommended it, but I could see that it still had holding. That's perfect, because you push that one off, then you put all your focus on just guiding this one down, and then everything else is left below the wings. I'll leave that one right there on the end while I process those 3, and then I just push it over here to the side, pull this all the way up or all the way down, and just rock it over there and do it. I mean, it's very systematic what I do. I'm not just shooting from the hip here on those. Let's pop you guys off here. See what we got. We're gonna let the Wolferidge cool down a little bit. But yeah, you know, the big wood can be kind of nerve-wracking, especially when you've spent this much money on a splitter, and you know, above the money and the splitter, you got your health. You're not trying to, you know, you're doing firewood. It's already difficult. You're not trying to kill yourself. All right, we got a bunch of stuff to pick up here. Man, I'm a terrible shot. And then I'll turn you guys around to see the fruits of our labor. My wife and kids had to run to CVS. I just saw her leave about 30 minutes ago. I think they're getting some passport photos or something. My girl's a natural born Rolling Stone. I won't say we travel everywhere, but in her mind, she's always going somewhere different. And she's always wanting to go somewhere different. She's got this idea that we're taking the kids to Italy next year. And I say it's an idea, but it's gonna happen. Whew. Y'all, say a prayer for me. 4-year-old in Italy seems like too much. When I was a kid, our vacation was 2 hours away at the local camp, the beach. So, but y'all, it's pulling up on 9:36, and I can't thank you guys enough for being here. Looks like we've already been about 95 minutes live. I know I mentioned to you guys I've got jiu-jitsu and then a nice full fun day planned. Like I said, we're just going to let the Wolferidge cool down for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to kill it. Yeah, I'm going to go that long. The oil cooler's been running, so we're not even. It's warm. My buddy's splitter, he's got a Timberwolf, and this is not anything about Timberwolf. I actually have a friend that has a Wolferidge without an oil cooler. And without the oil cooler, sometimes out in the summer, when you're really spitting and working the machine, you can't even touch these pipes. These hoses, these Newberg rubber, it's too hot to touch. So I'm going to scroll through here and see if I missed anybody. We got 3 green acres in the house, man. What's up, brother? All right. Gino said hi. Thank you for being here, Gene or John or Jean. It's a southern boy from North Carolina, so I can guarantee you I'm going to butcher some names here. Alright, we got Sherry, we got Chris, Jack is out of here. Good morning to 3 green acres. A great vacation for me is Hope. Yes, Ken, that's what I'm talking about. I was actually texting Ken yesterday about, this is me trying to sign off. You guys, I got ADD. We all do. Anybody that does firewood does. I was texting Ken about Hope yesterday, and anybody that doesn't know Ken, you hadn't been here long enough, because Ken's everywhere, dude. Ken is, I literally joke about Ken being like the air, because he is everywhere. Ken has been out to my place here in North Carolina. He lives in North Carolina as well. He's probably 2 hours away, 3 hours away from me. Ken, you'll be 5 states over, and if there's a log to be cut or split, Ken's gonna pop out of it, and he's gonna be ready to work. And the funny thing about Ken is, he is a natural born woodhound. I don't think that he heats with wood. I don't think that he has a big wood yard. He doesn't sell wood. This guy just gets out and works, man. That's just what he does. Ken is the guy that shows up with a pair of gloves and he's like, who's ready? And I respect the hell out of that. So Ken is always welcome. And same thing last year at Hope. Ken just showed up with a pair of gloves. He got at the end of a splitter and he worked all day long. When you see Ken sitting down, you know it's hot. Ken's a grinder, man. And we are lucky to have him as a part of this. Ken, did you ever find a place to stay up there? Ken was on the phone. I sent him a lot of the hotel recommendations I had are now sold out, but my wife found a bed and breakfast, and I sent it to Ken. And the next thing I know, Ken texts me and says, well, they had availability, but the guy who answered the phone helping me out pissed me off, so I hung up. It had me rolling. All right. Our reading skills ain't that good down here. That's right. Neither are our spelling, typing. We don't put G's on things. Mo, I gave up. Yeah, that's what he said. Ken said, man, it was like a bed and breakfast with like 8 rooms. He said, yeah, all 8 rooms were available, but the guy pissed me off, so I hung up. That's hilarious. All right, gang. Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate it. I always enjoy getting out here and doing a little bit of work, getting out here and doing a little bit of work with you guys. And, you know, personally, when I'm not live, I enjoy being on other lives just for the community. So thank you guys again, and I hope y'all have a great, blessed Saturday. Enjoy your weekend. Rock on.